everyone, it's Kim and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first video with me, well, we're going to be getting pretty close today because I want to tell you about my shop and why it began, and also I want to tell you about Whimsical Narratives as a whole. I've never really talked about my story, about the ins and outs of what brought me back to this channel and what encouraged me to open my shop last year. So I do want to say that if you are sensitive to talk of mental health and of loss, then I would prefer it if you skipped this video. But for those of you that are going to stay, this is my story, so thanks for listening. Whimsical Narratives started as a booktube channel back in 2013. Back then, I knew that maybe I wanted to start a bookish shop of some kind that I could eventually add on to Whimsical Narratives. Booksleeves or candles or something like that. But back then, it was going to be a completely different name. And I'd always thought of a shop in some way for years. So I knew that Booksleeves would be one of those things when the time came. But until then, I made videos from about 2013 till around the fall of 2016. And at that point, my mental health became really poor. I had a new physical symptom happen that freaked me out. Nothing excited me anymore. Not that anyone really probably noticed except those close to me. But with the help of therapy and medication and the support of my family and close friends, my passions returned, and of course my love for reading along with it, and for the book community. At that point, I wasn't quite ready to return to YouTube, so I started the blog version of Whimsical Narratives instead. And while I worked on that and at my day job, it seemed things were looking better, brighter, and I believe this was around the time I started to really think about opening a shop for Booksleeves or candles or other bookish items. But 2 years later, the universe had another hurdle that I didn't see coming, which is truly where the story of my shop begins. On February 14th, 2018, Valentine's Day, and the day before I turned 27, my mom was diagnosed with bile duct cancer. It's rare, and the prognosis of it isn't the best. It's something that quite literally flips your world upside down and changes everything. Pretty much immediately, she went on disability, and we began our journey as a family through doctor's appointments and radiation appointments, and eventually she began chemo. So after a while, for something to do at home, my mom and I decided to try and make our own book sleeves, and that began the process of, I guess, adding a book sleeve shop to Whimsical Narratives also. My mom deserves full credit for the book sleeve pattern, 100%. I showed her my favorite one that I liked and what I liked and disliked from other ones that I had received or bought, and she whipped up a pattern like it was nothing really. It took us a few trial and errors, but we made the pattern, we trial and errored again and found the fabric, and now it's what I use. My mom's pattern is what I use every day, and we'll continue to use until it's time to add more sizes, and then I'll just probably change the height and width from there. But with it done, we tested a few out for friends and family, but that was as far as we had taken it at that point. And I'm not quite sure if this was still 2018 or 2019. I honestly don't remember. But then, exactly 2 years after her diagnosis, on February 14th, 2020, Valentine's Day and the day before I turned 29, my dad and I lost my mom. I can't remember precisely which day, but on a previous night that week before her passing, I wrote her a letter and read it to her, thanking her for being the best mom, for all the different ways she supported me since I was born, and taught me how to be the caring person who I hope I am today. After that, after the thanks, I listed some promises I wanted to make to her. And here it is. This is one of the ones I wrote in the letter, word for word. I also promise that I will get my shop off the ground and it will be amazing. This letter actually sits on my bulletin board in my library / office all the time. It has pretty much since I wrote it. Just to keep me inspired to live up to what I told my mom I would do. So in December 2020, or around December 2020, January 2021, amongst the grief and the pandemic and the craziness of the world at that point, I made the decision to turn Whimsical Narratives into a full business. I began making YouTube videos again, which I have loved every second of from that point. I fought against the social anxiety of making phone calls and going and opening a bank account and a business mailbox, all the adulting things that one doesn't realize that they would need to do. I struggled through making my first book sleeve on my own with no help at all, which that was an experience. And luckily now I've had a lot of practice because you wouldn't even see the first few I made. But finally, on April 30th, 2021, I opened the virtual doors to the Whimsical Narratives shop and recently decided to move it to its new home on Etsy. And in addition to that, Whimsical Narratives is almost 1,000 strong on YouTube, which, looking back to the girl in 2016 who felt the most lost she had ever felt in her life, I hope anyone who has read this story knows to never give up and believe in your dreams and be so thankful and grateful to the ones who love and cherish you. Because that girl in 2016 had no idea what the future held for her. And even now in 2022, it's still hard to believe that's what the future had in store for me. But cherish those people who love you, because they're your rocks when the world gets tough, and even if when they're gone, they're always with you and helping you fight your battles every single day. So not only is this bookish shop in memory of my mom, but so is honestly Whimsical Narratives as a whole. Because of her, the narrative of my life has really been a whimsical one. This shop is for you, Mom. And I'll live my life the best I can for both of us. I appreciate those of you who have listened to this story, and I'm sorry for the tears that are possibly streaming down your face as they are mine. But thank you for supporting me and Whimsical Narratives and for being my bookish friends. Thank you for listening. With that being said, I'll see you all in my next video. So for now, take care and happy reading, everyone. Bye.